No. Please. Please survive. Oh, for the love of God. Survive, please. Please! We're going for 2 relatable clears today. The first side is going to be my favorite gambler of tiles, QQ, and then we're going to go over to the worst unit in the game, Yanqing. Now, seeing how he performs against aventurine is probably more interesting than the QQ part, because that team is only Tingyun, Hanya, and Japard. So in the team building aspect, this side is probably a little more difficult to build because we do have the limited Harmony, Ranmei, but then Bronya can honestly be interchanged with anything. Doesn't really matter too much. Even Ranmei, for the most part, can be changed as long as you put a unit that can help break the dinosaur shields faster. Because that's the majority of what Ranmei is doing right here, right? Is increasing our weakness break efficiency, so QQ can help break that dinosaur's shield, and then we can finally kill it going into the next cycle, and then repeat the same thing for the second side, right? If you don't have that extra weakness break efficiency, then obviously you do want to have some sort of supplemental toughness damage. Now, this QQ ult is going to be super nice because we're going to take out all those adjacent enemies. Wonderful. And as you can see, the dinosaur is now at a sliver of toughness. So we focused all the initial attacks on the left enemy because we didn't want to lose that damage from QQ's attacks. But then, the second we break the right enemy, we then transition over, and now QQ is going to just target that enemy. Didn't crit, unfortunately. That's too bad. But now here, since we get immediately into QQ's action, she only got 1 free tile. So it is pretty guaranteed to get a couple of triggers from our skill. Unless we just don't get 4 of a kind. That would suck, huh? So that enemy is at 5 stacks of entanglement, so it did take the max damage. Perfect. Here, since we have no skill points, we're just going to have to basic instead of gambling. And then now we'll gamble. Or not. Not bad. So now both of them are in range to die from the next drop. That speed debuff is the most annoying part of this entire side. I hate those deep freezes, genuinely. Okay, so those action advancing enemies just did get taken out because the main boss died, and now we don't have to worry about our characters not getting turns and then us not getting to 6 actions. Because QQ might be able to kill if we can get 4 of a kind at some point. Okay, so at this point if we crit, it probably will die. Okay, so since it didn't die, now we can just straight up build up a couple more skill points, build up some more energy, and this was the best situation. Now here, we did actually pop Ranmei's ult just because we're going to have QQ's turn come before Ranmei in the next wave, so it's fine in this circumstance. Perfect. Now, unfortunately, since we actually used Bronya's ult outside of QQ's buffer turn, we did actually technically waste 1 turn of ult, but as you can see, Bronya's energy bar is already half full, so I think that's probably the right decision. But ideally, making sure that Bronya's ults last 3 turns on QQ is very, very important. So here, as you can see, Ranmei is before QQ, so we do benefit from those buffs. And we did hold off on the ult just because it wasn't buffed like whatsoever. So we can just take advantage of a little bit more now. And we got a Tarky, lucky. Bang. So at this point, we still want to target Cocolia because that first hit would have got severely decreased in the amount of damage it would have dealt because the shield wasn't broken yet. So now we can focus on the dinosaur. Building up those entanglement stacks a little bit further. So now we're kind of low on skill points, right? So we're just going to basic here because we would rather get a guaranteed good 4 of a kind on the boosted turn instead of try to get it early and then not be able to get it second. That was perfect. Yeah, we got a Tarky. We have all of our buffs up, so this is going to be a massive damage output. Let's see what QQ can do. And the adjacent is going to break Cocolia as well. So it is a wonderful, wonderful situation. 160 and 180. That is great. That is great. One more time, QQ, do your thing. A Tarky? Come on. Come on, QQ. Yes. Finish it, QQ. Finish it. 5 stacks. Maximum damage now. Almost. Almost. I want QQ to finish it. Come on, QQ. One skill point. One skill point. Okay, wait. We actually triggered a Tarky. Now, that was beautiful. That was actually a great finish. So I'll be honest, this side was pretty tough for me. I was initially trying to do a Tingyun Hanya. Unfortunately, not enough damage whatsoever, and I just did not have any skill points for Japard to use his skills. Sparkle was a necessity in this team because Japard pretty much spams skills 75% of the time. The freeze is invaluable. Like, you cannot actually go without the freeze sometimes, and as well as that, the shield, like, genuinely needs to be up as much as possible, and just basically does not do it. So here, we actually froze the enemy with Japard before Yanqing's attack. So he kept the crit damage from Sparkle, increased one more stack from the MOC buff, so we got an extra 5% damage there. And also, because we actually have Yanqing's E1, right? This is actually with an E1 Yanqing, it's still this underwhelming. When you attack a frozen enemy, you deal like a little bit of extra damage, like 60% of your attack as an extra multiplier. So it is nice, that little synergy between Japard and Yanqing to freeze the enemies and then attack them. So here, if we can trigger the follow-up, we can actually freeze. Of course, do not trigger the follow-up. Now Japard's turn is coming up. Hopefully we can land a freeze. Okay, not bad. At this point, we're going to get our ult up, but we're going to save it. Reason being is that we would have actually action advanced Sparkle into the cycle, and then we wouldn't have been able to get 6 attacks in this wave. So we do want to make sure that we can drop that bomb. That's very important because Yanqing does not do very much damage. Okay, I'll take it. Anytime he triggers the follow-ups, I take it as a win. Reapply Benediction. We did speed boost up Tingyun, so if for some reason we do not trigger a follow-up off Yanqing, we're still going to have our 6th attack. Great re-up to the shield. Japard got hit. Great taunt value there. And now Sparkle's going to come up. We're going to boost up Yanqing. And then we can either attack the right enemy or the left enemy, right? Left one won't break. So if we attack the right one, right, the thing will actually drop. And then all the enemies will die if we get lucky. Okay, so I guess all the enemies just died regardless, but the main boss didn't die. Take a little bit of toughness, so now Yanqing's skill with a follow-up trigger should be able to take it out. Or Japard, I guess, can just do it if we don't. Okay, never mind. I guess we'll just take out that thing so we don't take any extra damage. That's actually a good idea. That was a good play. That was a good play. And we got lucky and we froze. And we got lucky and now we can break. That's actually a great synergy right there. Or a great series of events. 4 stacks. Now, hopefully Yanqing does not trigger his follow-up. That would be ideal. Beautiful. So now we can get an extra skill point and Japard shield up. Perfect. Going into the next wave, we now have full shield. And we're also going to have Dance 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 from Tingyun. Unfortunately, we do not have Benediction up. So we are going to hold our ultimate. Great. Now we'll reapply Benediction, and then we'll ult. And then we'll ult with Tingyun, which will Dance 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 us. And give Japard a turn right before aventurine. Great. So now, even if we freeze him, he's still going to be going immediately, but as you can see, so he has 2 action value here. This is pretty important. He's frozen. Now, his action value is only 6 away from Sparkle. So what that did is now, his next turn is all the way past our 5 characters. If he had immediately gone, he would have actually cut in between in the beginning of this cycle. So even though that freeze might have looked like it didn't do anything, it actually did. Perfect, got the drop. We're going to have to take advantage of every single drop, every wave. If we don't, it's possible it doesn't work. Here, we'll see if we freeze once more. Actually, so this is the thing. We're at enough toughness that we actually don't have to freeze. So we can just basic twice, and now Yanqing's skill, regardless of a follow-up trigger, will break. So that was a nice little catch how I took off, I switched from Japard's skill to the basic. Now, the same thing, even though he was frozen and he still went immediately, it's still overall very good. So now at this point, we're very low on skill points, and Yanqing's energy is the 5 off, right? So we can't basic and get a follow-up, we'd have to skill and get a follow-up. Or actually, no, sorry, we'd have to basic and get a follow-up or skill. So what we did is we actually foregoed the crit damage boost, and instead, it kind of got made up for the fact that now we got an extra 5% damage from the MOC buff. Not as good as the crit damage, obviously, but... Got our shield up. Perfect. And Japard's going to lose. No chance he wins. Okay, would have been a little better if he effect resed it, but it's fine. Or resisted it. Effect resed it. Okay, so this is getting a little bit close here. Now we are going to be able to trigger the Dance 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 after using Benediction, but we're kind of in the range where ideally we want the drop and 1 skill from Yanqing to kill. We don't want our ultimate, so we don't want to waste the ultimate. Okay, so the follow-up triggered the 5, and now this will trigger the 6. So let's see how close it gets. There's no reason to freeze him, obviously, because our goal is to kill him. Okay, so unfortunately, since we do not have Benediction up on Ting Yun, our talent is not going to trigger, right? Which means that we're not going to be dealing that extra damage. So we did just have to skill. And now we're in the same situation. Sparkle's ult super far away, not very high on skill points, so we're just going to basic, and hopefully Ting Yun can kill here. That would be the best. Okay, so I guess we'll just have to finish it with Yanqing. In the perfect scenario, this would actually leave it at like 0.01%, and then Yanqing could clean it up, or Japard could clean it up, but there's very low chance of that happening. And yeah, 17k. So we're almost dead here. I actually tapped that Japard ult so fast, it just didn't hit. It didn't hit, so I got so lucky that it hit Ting Yun instead of Sparkle, or Japard would have been fine. He would have just revived, but that was extremely lucky because I got late on hitting that ult. Freeze, freeze. Okay, freeze. Great situation. Now that he's frozen, we can take down his toughness a ton. I mean, we could have taken down his toughness regardless, but we have more time now in between his next turn. Next turn. 2 more cycles to go. We have 2 more cycles. Now we're still going to skill here. Even though he's frozen, we need Japard's shield to be up once we start gambling, because he's going to sap us of energy, and then our basic will not get our ult up. So even though we're going to be very close to breaking his toughness, I mean, here we're going to obviously be able to break his toughness, but actually no, wait, will we? No, we won't. Okay, so we will not be able to break his toughness here, so that means it is time to gamble, and it's very lucky, or very good, right, that we did use Japard's skill, because now this skill is going to get us our shield again. Without this, we just die. Basic and basic, doesn't really matter, we're going to lose. Ooh, we got close that time. Doesn't matter. Yanqing is the only character who can win. Now, we just wasted that drop. That was a very bad situation where we wasted that drop. Can't do anything about it, though, because only Sparkle and Ting Yun can use skills, and we were already at 3 or 4. Now, Yanqing actually triggered the follow-up, so he won. So I didn't need to use his ult, but it doesn't matter because he's already going to get it back. So it doesn't make a difference whatsoever. If anything, it might actually give him a crit rate and a crit damage boost for his next ult. No, I guess he just get it regardless. Doesn't matter. So, immediately Yanqing ult is going to break Aventurine, so now we're not going to be taking that extra damage, which would have 100% have killed us. 100% would have killed us. So now, the question is, can we deal enough damage before Aventurine goes again? Almost got the ult up on Ting Yun. Freeze. This has to freeze. Success. Beautiful. Beautiful. 2 action value. If Ting Yun was not 2 action value in front, this run wouldn't have worked. Absolutely beautiful. Get the extra damage bonus because Ting Yun will do an extra 0.5% now. I was thinking maybe if I basicked and then Ting Yun ulted, maybe Ting Yun could go in front, but there's no way. So it's better to give the damage boost to Yanqing now. So now Ting Yun's basic will do a little bit more damage. And now it's time. We're at 4 stacks. We could increase the damage with our skill and then ult because the higher number. Although, I don't play Yanqing very much. So, I checked his ultimate. And when you use the ultimate, that's when you get that extra crit damage bonus if you already have Steel Soul Sync, right? So, since we already have it, we're going to ult first. And then our skill is going to be even more buffed. Wonderful. Oh, and we triggered a follow-up, so we got an extra 2%. That 2% may have undeniably have been the key factor. 1 skill. Finish it, Yanqing, please, for the love of God. Yes. Yes. So if this isn't one of the most free-to-play QQ builds, I genuinely don't know what is. We're at 85% crit rate and 110% crit damage on seriousness of breakfast. So this build can be easily outmatched. Easily outmatched. Now, as for the rest of it, right? Quantum Set and Salsodo. Cool. Ron May, a little bit of fast. 180 break effect. Perfect. Put on pass in the future. Her light cone doesn't matter too much. Bronya is 1 speed slower than QQ for the double QQ actions. And Luocha is just simple on post-up and attack rope. Cool. On to the Yanqing build. So he is 63 crit rate on cruising. Traces are pretty good. On a 2-piece attack and 2-piece ice. Actually, no, he wasn't 2-piece ice. But, yeah. Fast Sparkle. Could be a little slower. Doesn't really need to be that fast, actually. And Japard is a ton of effect hit rate. Almost 100 effect hit rate just to make sure we can freeze. His freezes are unironically sometimes more important than his shields. So, thanks for watching. Join the Discord, like the video, subscribe, and adios.